Hello and welcome to this pre-recorded webinar based around the Year 1 Stay and Learn, which took place on the 1st of October. My name is Russell Smart. I'm one of the two deputy heads of primary and I'm responsible for the academic side of your child's growth. So that covers curriculum, teaching and learning and assessment. Later on, I'm going to hand over to Ms. Henratti, who is the assistant head for Years 1 and 2, and she'll talk more about the specifics of what was seen during the Stay and Learn on the 1st of October. By the end of this session, you have a better understanding, I hope, of the UK curriculum and how that influences what we teach and how we teach it here at DBSJP. Ms. Henratti will explore the expectations of the Year 1 curriculum and a particular focus on continuous provision, which is a key part of what your children will be experiencing day in, day out, whilst they're with us in Year 1. So to start off with, and for those that are new to either the British curriculum or new to DBSJP, our curriculum is broad, balanced and skills rich. It's rooted in the national curriculum for England, and all that we do goes back to that key document of the national curriculum. The national curriculum, for those who are not familiar with it, has very broad statements, and it's down to individual schools and teachers how those statements are interpreted and delivered. But the end goal and the end result is that children are on that same journey towards the same outcomes, in this case for Year 1. Our core subjects of English, Maths and Science are supplemented in the UAE context with Arabic and Islamic, which are requirements directed to us by the Ministry of Education. Our children are also really fortunate to have some specialist teachers in the arts, PE and music as well, and I know that's a really popular part of their timetable. For those of you that are new to the curriculum, the British curriculum has a balance between knowledge and skills, and whilst there is certain knowledge that we teach and certain key facts or figures that children need to know, we try to deliver it in a progressive way where skills are built on year. For those of you that are familiar with the IB curriculum, you know that there is more self-led inquiry and project-based learning, and we do bring aspects of that into our curriculum, but we also balance that with that knowledge as well. Right from Year 1, we develop independence in your children, resilience and responsibility, and that will come through some of the key messages you will hear later on as well. The way we plan our curriculum, as I've mentioned, has that big picture national curriculum at the start, and those very broad objectives are mapped out across the academic year on our long-term plans. We also create week-on-week curriculum maps. All of this is planned out with the intention to cover kind of the one-size-fits-all type approach. However, once the children are in front of us and we start delivering those lessons, we need to make adaptations and changes because each class is different, the way each child learns is different as well. So whilst our long-term plans and curriculum maps have our intentions, it might be that some concepts take longer to deliver than others, or some children might grasp ideas much quicker, or some children might need an explanation in a different way. So through ongoing assessments, our teachers reflect and they adjust the curriculum to suit the needs and the interests of the learners. So on the screen in front of you, those last three, the weekly planning, ongoing assessment and those reflections, that's a continuous cycle until we get to a new term, we start with a new curriculum map and the process happens all over again. Here at DBSJP, visible learning is a key part of what we do and what your children experience day in, day out. What does that mean for you as parents? Well, we want the children to be part of and owners of their learning journey. We don't want it just done to them. So teachers will share their intentions for the lesson or a unit of work, and the children will have an understanding of why they're covering that particular skill or that concept. How does that fit in with their wider learning? Where are they going on that journey? And I mentioned on the screen as well about success criteria. We really encourage our children to monitor their progress and to judge how successful they've been and what their own next steps are. And whilst the teachers are there to facilitate that learning, by providing those deeper questions or extending them in different ways, we really want the children, through their developing independence, to really own that learning journey, know where they're going, why they're going there, and how they're going to get there in the best way. I'm now going to hand over to Ms. Henratti, who's going to talk in more detail about what the Year 1 children experience.
Hello everybody, as Mr Smart said, I am Miss Henretti and I'm Assistant Head Teacher of Year 1 and 2. So what is special about our Year 1 offering at DBSJP? We offer discrete subjects which are complemented by continuous provision. So your children will have lessons, as Mr Smart explained, like English, maths, etc. But then within the classroom there are opportunities for them to extend that learning further through play-based experiences, which are also child-led and driven by your children's interests. We offer many inspiring and challenging topics. We take that student voice, those student interests, and we build our curriculum around your children to keep them engaged. We start their ECA journey, so this term they have stayed with their class and done a variety of ECAs, and throughout the year they will move on and be able to select those. We also ensure that they have plentiful opportunities to develop their independence and lifelong skills, which I will explain a little bit further in a moment. And as you will see when you drop your child off to school, we have a beautiful outdoor area which we use to enhance learning further. So the focus of today's session is on continuous provision. So why does it matter? If your child attended DBF or another British curriculum EYFS setting, it's really important that we keep that experience and that transition as smooth as possible for the students. So our environment, having continuous provision, allows us to do that. We know that children at 5 years old learn best through play, through exploration, through hands-on experiences. So we know that having continuous provision is developmentally appropriate for children at this age. As I mentioned just on the slide before, having provision in the class and getting the children to drive their own learning increases that independent learning skill and student ownership, which are two lifelong skills that we want children to develop. It allows us chance for children to apply the knowledge that they've learned. So for example, your children are learning about the human body at the moment. So we've got skeletons in the classroom, we've got muscle groups within the classroom. So through whole class inputs, they've learned the knowledge, but they can actually then, through their play, apply that knowledge in role play scenarios, for example. Also, having continuous provision, which leave things more open-ended, encourages critical thinking and creativity, which again are lifelong skills that we want our learners to have at DBSJP. So when you visited the classrooms, or if you were to come again during continuous provision, the teacher will normally do some sort of input for the children. So whether that's introducing them to new knowledge, new vocabulary, a new skill, and then there's lots of opportunities throughout the classroom, for children to lead their learning. We do just need to clarify there are two different approaches to provision. We have what we call our continuous provision, so they're resources that are always there for the children. So things like building blocks and Legos to allow them to construct. We have different role play areas, so maybe it's a kitchen, lots of them have doctor's surgeries at the moment. Creative area with paints, crayons, scissors, allowing lots of opportunities for children to use their imagination, but also to develop their fine motor skills by using a variety of tools. Every classroom has a reading area, and we want our classrooms to be as literacy rich as possible. So we have lots of different literary artefacts through clipboards, and that leads into mark-making opportunities. Children don't have to be writing at a table. They may write down something after they've read their favourite book. They may grab some post-it notes and stick them elsewhere in the classroom with things that they have mark-made. And also we have a variety of loose part objects, which does tend to lead into our maths learning. We then have things like enhanced provision, which as the year progresses, you will see these things change throughout the classroom. So every classroom is aiming to work towards the big question, what makes me and my world super? So it's been superhero crazy in year one at the moment. But each week or fortnight or termly, depending on what pace the children are learning at, that enhanced provision changes. So I've already explained that in science we've got different resources in, but as that topic changes, the resources in the enhanced provision change. Similarly with maths and English, at the moment they've been having a focus on number lines, so there's lots of number lines in the classroom. They will remain, but also new things will be introduced throughout the year. So when you come into the classroom for continuous provision opportunities, it's really important that we give the children the chance to lead their learning. Remember, when play is involved, the adults are the facilitators, not the directors. And I think we saw that when all the parents joined. At home, you can also ask your children open-ended questions when they're playing, just to push them on further and to get to know what they're interested in as well. So open-ended questions like, what are you doing? What's your favourite part of the classroom? What might happen? What are you going to do next? Getting them to predict their play. And how did you think of that idea? It gives you that clarity of why they have chosen to do what they are doing. As I mentioned, you may extend that further at home. The wonderful thing about Seesaw, as our children in year 1 are developing their ability to communicate what their school day looks like, Seesaw's amazing to help you with that. So there's a variety of posts which you can use to ask your children questions. So what were you doing here? Did you have fun doing this? How did you choose to do it this way? I loved seeing that your teacher uploaded this. Can you tell me a little bit more about it? Also, read with and to your child. So obviously they've got their book bags with their books, but also there's still lots of time at that age to be read to. Don't just always make it about them reading to you. Children pick up and feed off everything at that age, and they are still like sponges. We've got that key age range where they are reliant on us to be the adults and to model that effective communication and emotional regulation for them. So every interaction, making sure that you're modelling what you want your child to pick up on. And again, yes, there's a time and a place for kind of more formal written activities for children, but also making sure on the home learning we often try and link the learning to be as fun as possible. So revisiting things through play. So in maths, we've suggested doing things with pasta. You could do it with Lego. You could use random toys around the house. You could have a collection of animals, which group has fewer, etc. And again, make mark making as fun as possible. We want children to develop that love of writing. That's why we're heavily invested in Drawing Club, but you can take that further at home. So if you're baking, get the child to write out the recipe. If you're going to the shops, get the child to write the list. If you're going on holiday, get them to write a list of what you want to be in the suitcase as well.
If you're able to join us on our Stay and Learn, thank you very much. If you were not able to join us this time, there'll be another opportunity to come into the classrooms in term 2. For now, from Miss Henretti and I, thank you very much. Have a great day.